Hi, everyone. Hi. Okay, I'm also getting my tech ready because, Dee Trainee Bear, my business partner and friend, and my best friend, Jerome Nunny Stigler, also know that I was still working on this in the car because I was so nervous. I'm not a public speaker. I'm an artist. I like being behind the scenes, not in front of the scenes. There was this point in life when I tried to do that, and this is where I'm at now. So if you can just bear with me, I'm going to do my best. And they also told me that I need to speak from the heart, so I'm going to try to go off book at some points, but not all of it. Okay. Thank you, Brian. That was a beautiful introduction, and I was totally not expecting everything that you said. And I remember that night on your stoop, and I am just blown away that that could have been the catalyst for all the great things you have achieved thus far. I also want to say thank you to Callen-Lorde for this great honor. I'm truly humbled by this recognition from the community. Ooh, that means so much to me. Callen-Lorde Community Health Center has been my healthcare provider since I began my medical transition. You have Richie Tran to thank for all of this fabulous that you see before you. Actually, I'll tell a quick funny story. My first hormone shot I got in the McDonald's on 34th and 8th Avenue. We were talking about this. Yes. Deja Richards is my good girlfriend. I used to work at Esquilita back in the day, and I pestered her for so long to help me transition. She was like, all right, girl, and she just kept brushing me off. And one day we were driving in her car, and I'm like, girl, when are you going to give me this shot? Like, I need this shot. I'm trying to be a girl. Can you help me to be a girl? Let's see. She literally pulled the car over and was like, get out. I'm like, where are we going? She brought me into McDonald's. We went in the bathroom. She slapped me on the ass, stuck me with a needle, and was like, there you go. And I'm like, I'm a girl? I'm a girl, yeah. So after that experience, I told my best friend at the time what had happened. I was so excited because when I went away to college, she stayed in New York. I'm from New York originally, and she had transitioned. So we were the same when I left, and when I came back 4 years later, she was a woman, and I just couldn't believe it. And so when I told her this story about how I got my first hormone shot, her first words to me were, have you ever heard of Callen-Lorde? And I hadn't. I didn't know that there was an entity like this that cared enough about trans people. Everything I knew about transition came from the many trans people that I met in my life, from Asia, trans women in my neighborhood. I'm from a working class community who was highly ostracized, to Alexis Davenport, my gay mother in Texas, who introduced me to some of the most gorgeous, phenomenal showgirls I had ever met in my life, who I couldn't believe, oh my God, this is a woman. But nobody really was able to tell me about the process of transition better than the people at Callen-Lorde. So thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going back on book now. I want to share this award with some of the trans people that will never have the opportunity to reach their next transcendent moment. Nikki Enriquez, London Moore, Shantae Tucker, Dejanay Stanton, Vontasia Bell, Sasha Garden, Keisha Wells, Catalina Christina James, Diamond Stevens, Antasha Divine Sherrington English, Gigi Pierce, Nino Fortson, Carla Patricia Flores Pavon, Sasha Wall, Amaya Tyre, Felicia Michel, Zakaria Fry, Celine Walker, Tanya Harvey, Krista Lee Steele Nundelson. We're not going to stop. Vicky Gutierrez. I say your names. 21 trans fatalities so far this year that we know of. Once again, we are on track to have the deadliest year on record for trans people. These lynchings must stop. Last year, the murder of China Doll Dupree almost took me out, and that's real. I was joking with Brian recently that In my life, I have experienced a sensational variety of magical people from many walks of life, and in completely random ways. So I like to call myself the trans Benjamin Button. I saw China Doll perform at a nightclub in Dallas, and it was one of the most brilliant experiences of my life. She was fantastic, gorgeous, captivating, and could high kick and split with the best. She was clearly a star on the rise. Last year, someone decided that that star didn't need to shine and shot her 10 times in a New Orleans shopping center. No killer has been charged with the crime. The reason this atrocity affected me so much was because the memory of seeing China Doll in full vibrancy reminded me of seeing young Ilan Nettles, her curious eyes, just months before she was beaten into a coma on the streets of New York City. In 2013, I was working at a makeup counter to pay for my I was working at a makeup counter by day and moonlighting as a sex worker to pay for my transition. I danced on bars and laps for many years, hoping that I would be able to pay to survive and for gender-affirming surgeries. My plan was to transition and disappear back into society and my career as a classically trained dancer. One night while I was on the bar at a popular transamorous party, I looked down to see doe-like eyes staring up at me. Ilan's novice stare was welcome respite from the debauched environment. That brief moment could have been forgotten, but seeing her picture splash across the news weeks later jarred me to an awakening. The rally in Jackie Robinson Park following Ilan's death was the first time I experienced the synthesis of sad and angry trans women fighting back against transphobia through sisterhood and brilliant speeches. The Humanity Rally in January of 2014 at One Police Plaza was my first time experiencing an action to demand justice for the law enforcement agency that allowed Ilan's murderer, James Dixon, to effectively escape due process. We were cold and pissed off and cold, but we huddled together, chanting and shouting, because Ilan deserved better than that. We all deserved better than that, and we still do. James Dixon was sentenced to 12 years in jail in 2016. He will be 37 when he's released. Ilan would have been 26 years old today. The amount of fighting that it took to get a modicum of justice for Ilan was a real lesson for me. Our bodies are not valued. Our spirits are not valued. People don't believe that trans people, especially trans women of color, have any value in the society. We're disposable. And still to this day we are. 21 fatalities this year, on track with last year and the year before that. Each one the deadliest year on record since they began recording, which was only 4 years ago. So let's really think about this. All of this goes back to why I'm here, which is so astounding to me because I really didn't do anything special. I was just myself. And you people, saw something brilliant in me, and it's still shaking me literally to my core. I was raised by a single mother who was raised by a single mother in a working class neighborhood on Long Island. We just call it the hood. It's Amityville. If you go there today, the same people that I grew up with are doing the same things. And I got out of there because there was no safety for me. I just want to, at this point, give some advice for my young sisters and brothers who are trying to make it right now. I don't think that trans people of color are given the tools to truly make it in society. And through my transition, the trans women that I met gave me realistic tools, not words or not devices built up by psychologists and psychotherapists. They just told me the truth about what the world would see me as and how they would treat me. And so I just kind of pared those down into some more realistic terms. So number one, be true to yourself. Number two, take yourself seriously, no matter what anyone else thinks. Number three, you must have faith. If not in a God, have faith in yourself, because we are God. Number 4, find safe spaces. Sometimes we think those safe spaces are within our own community, and sometimes they are not. So you have to really decipher what is the best for you. And number 5, you must improve every day. We don't have the luxury of resting on laurels because there are no laurels. There's only fire and death. Lastly, I would like the world to know that all human beings are the same. It's our individual experiences that make us phenomenal. What was I saying I want to say? So in preparing for this speech, I really had to think, what is the transcendent piece? And I think the answer is being raised to believe that everything I am today is not only wrong, but would lead to a horrible life. And then taking that fear, guilt, and shame and turning it into fuel. Fuel that I use to craft an unexpected life full of love, joy, and success. And I thank you all for being there along the way, and may there be more road along. All the way. I've never had 50 people.